stupid time. I'm wasting dummy time. I ain't drunk nothing but the water. Must have been only water. Let's get it. Y'all don't make fun of my reading, man. You know I had that public school education. Buckle up.
You ain't safe. You ain't safe. You ain't safe.
Alright, so first of all, you're gonna notice I'm wearing the same thing I was wearing in my last video. That's because I recorded 2 videos in the same day. So mind your business. I'm not dirty. Now we're gonna talk about how gangsta Jesus is. Now some of y'all might be like, Jesus? Monty, Jesus? Really? Mr. Turn the Other Cheek? Really? Now, first of all, let me clear that passage up right now. Let me clear that up right now. Jesus was referring to eye for an eye, tooth for a tooth, stated in Exodus 21:24. Eye for an eye was meant to end feuds. However, Jesus is saying that this is not a license for vengeance. Some people, or even most people, tend to seek revenge when they're insulted. This passage does not mean that a man should not defend himself, his family, or his country, but rather he should not engage in personal vengeance when he's insulted. Being slapped in the face back then was seen as an insult. I mean, well, it still is now. But Jesus is giving us the mindset regarding insults. What Jesus wants from us is to be buried so deep in him that the insults of this world does not even affect us. It's almost like trying to insult a man who's dead. You can make all the insults and remarks you want, but you will not receive a response. So turn the other cheek does not mean when you are slapped in the face, you be like, hey bro, you forgot a side. Go ahead, get this cheek too, fam. Nah, man. Because if that was the case, then tell me this. Why did Jesus confront the officer who slapped him in the face? Yeah, you didn't know? Jesus was slapped in the face by an officer and he did not literally turn the other cheek. That's in John 18:20 through 23. The officer slapped Jesus in the face and Jesus confronted him and asked him, why did he hit him? People believe that this passage means that we are to let everybody just walk all over us. But no, that's not what the scripture means. In Luke 22:36, we see Jesus telling his disciples to go buy a sword. And when I say sword, I'm not talking about the word. I'm talking about an actual, literal sword made of steel. Jesus basically told his disciples to get strapped up. And in verse 38, it says that his disciples came back with 2 swords and Jesus said, it is enough. So we see Jesus in this passage telling these men to physically arm themselves. My mother had a daycare in Inglewood, and oftentimes she would have me and my sister to go pick up the kids from school. At the time, me and my sister, didn't have a driver's license, didn't have a car. So we walked to school to go get these kids. I know I've been working with kids for a long time, I know. So what me and my sister would do is we would arm ourselves. We did not arm ourselves looking for trouble. We armed ourselves because we understood that danger was present in our neighborhood. Therefore, we prepared ourselves in case anything popped off. If anything popped off or went left, we were ready. I'm telling you this because Jesus, in the same way, is not telling these men to prepare themselves to go make war. Jesus is not promoting violence in this passage, but instead he's stressing the peril they face and the courage that they'll need for the crisis ahead. Now check this statement out that Jesus said in Matthew 10:28. Let's go there. Matthew 10:28 says, and fear not them which kill the body, but are not able to kill the soul, but rather fear him which is able to destroy both soul and body in hell. Oh my God. Oh my God. Y'all, Jesus just said, don't fear man who can just destroy your body. Rather, fear the one who can destroy your body and your soul. Man, y'all want to talk about an everlasting haymaker? There it is, right there. You catching L's in both lives. In Matthew 21:12 through 13 and Mark 11:15 through 18, the Bible says that the people defiled the temple of God, which is now known as a church building. These people were buying and selling animal sacrifices in a church building. So Jesus walks in and completely stops everything. He stopped everyone from using this temple as a marketplace. And Jesus began to flip tables. And you have to imagine this. These people have all their merchandise and their personal belongings on these tables. And Jesus walks in and just completely flips them all. He flipped all these tables, just like taking this and just whop. I got my MacBook right here. I got my microphone right here. I got my other laptop right here. He just flipped it on the floor. Like, you have to understand, like, in a man's mind, that's considered almost a disrespect. But Jesus don't care. He don't care. So he flipped these tables. Now they got the table on the floor, and all their merchandise, all their belongings are all over the floor. And Jesus told them, my house will be known as a house of prayer, but you've turned it into a den of thieves. Now I imagine that Jesus was yelling when he said this. This isn't proven. This is just my belief. But that's a gangster move right there, man. I don't care what y'all say. That's gangster. Then also, I need you to understand this. Jesus was not a white man with high cheekbones, thin lips, and a perm. We just read where he cleared the temple. You can't clear a temple looking like Jared Leto. Jesus was a man of color from the hood. Now, when I say man of color, I'm not saying that he's black, because it's very possible for a person to have melanin to their skin and not be African American. I'm saying he was a man of color, meaning he was a brown-skinned Palestinian Jew. So Jesus was a man of color from the hood. Yeah, man, you didn't know? Nazareth, bro. Nazareth? That's the hood, man. It says in John 1:46, can any good come out of Nazareth? Don't nothing good come from Nazareth, man. I'm from LA. That's like saying don't nothing good come from Inglewood. Don't nothing good come from Compton. And Jesus rode with a squad. Yes, I'm talking about those 12 disciples. Which, by the way, Jesus could have had more than 12. Luke 6:13 says that out of his disciples, he chose 12. So I take that as he could have had more. But these disciples were the reason why the Pharisees and law teachers could not touch Jesus. Because remember, the Pharisees and the law teachers considered themselves to know more about the law, more about the Mosaic law than anyone else. That's what they specialized in. Then here you have Jesus stepping on the scene and began to correct them, educate them, and even start changing the law a little bit. And this made them look quite foolish. So they knew what this meant for them. It means that they'll lose their title and whatever authority that they had. Now notice, when you read the Bible, you never see these Pharisees and law teachers talking about Jesus in public. They always talked about him in private, behind his back. They wanted Jesus dead. They wanted to kill Jesus, to eliminate him, to get him up out of here, because he's making them look foolish. But they couldn't do it. Why? Because of the 12 disciples. We just read when Jesus told them to get strapped up. So the Pharisees and law teachers could not touch Jesus because they knew if they did, they would die. Don't believe me? Good. I don't want you to believe me. I'm going to show you. This is in John 18. After Judas betrayed Jesus, soldiers began to march up to Jesus to arrest him. And John 18:10 says, Peter drew his sword and cut off the high priest's servant's ear. Peter chopped the high priest servant's man's ear off with no hesitation. Not even a second thought. And if you keep reading this passage, you see Jesus telling Peter to chill. Jesus had to tell Peter to stop. Now, the fact that Jesus had to tell Peter to stop means he wasn't finished. Peter's a cold piece of work, boy. Now, I believe that if Jesus hadn't said anything at all, that Peter and the rest of his disciples would have killed them all. That's again, it's not in the Bible. It's not stated. That's not proven. That's just what I believe. So that's how these disciples move, bro. These disciples wasn't some flower picking, all praises singing kumbaya, kind of people, high, holier than thou kind of. No, like these people, these disciples were soldiers ready for war. That's how they move. That if you touched the Messiah, you die not now, but right now. And the Pharisees and the law teachers knew this. That's why they couldn't touch him. That's why they couldn't touch Jesus. And lastly, there's more, I guess, gangster statements in the Bible, but this is going to be the last one that I'm going to mention to you guys. And it's when Jesus was crucified. Now listen, I know, but hear me out. Let me explain. Man did everything they could to kill, torment, torture, and humiliate the Christ. But wait, in John 10:18, Jesus said that no man can take his life, that he willingly lay his life down, and that he has the power to raise it back up again. Whew. So Jesus allowed man to think they were doing something. So man proceeded to do their worst. They mustered up everything they can think of, from spitting in his face, ripping his beard off, beating him until chunks of meat began to fall off his body, making a crown of thorns and wedging it into his head, mocking him, making him carry his cross up Golgotha, driving nails in his hands and his feet, then ultimately being hung on the cross. So man did everything they could to kill the God-man in the most painful and humiliating way, just for Jesus to get back up 3 days later like nothing happened. If that ain't the most gangster, bro, do you understand what that does to a man? Picture this. You come face to face with a man or your opponent, and your mission, your objective is to not only beat this man, but to also humiliate and ultimately kill this man. So you do everything you can think of. I'm talking, you in your bag, bro. Coming out with weapons, you beating this man. You got blood spattering, bow, 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 blood being splattered. You watching this man's health bar go down. You're putting everything you have in every last single blow. Everything. I mean, you couldn't do any worse. This is your best worst. This is your best worst work. This is your worst best work. I don't know if that makes sense. Now, as a man, after your job is completed, you're thinking you did something. I mean, you are 1,000% positive that this man is dead. No man can get up from the beating that you gave. Absolutely no man. That man is dead. Confirmed. Kill confirmed. Even took a spear and jabbed him in his side to make sure he was dead. But how many know Jesus isn't some ordinary man? Then 3 days later, Jesus got up after 3 days with all power and walked these streets for 40 days. And I can just picture Jesus walking past these men, the same men that beat and tortured and humiliated him. I can picture Jesus just walking past these men. Those men looking shocked, like what didn't happen? Like, what's going on? How are you here? And Jesus stopping in the midst of him walking and looks back at him and says, I told you, no man can take my life. He didn't do that, but I wish he did. So that's gonna be the end of the video. I chopped this up in 2 parts, as y'all can see, because it's a lot going on. But yeah, man, so for those who's thinking that, Jesus is like this soft man who just let people walk all over him, he let people slap him, and he ain't gonna do nothing. While Jesus is known as the Prince of Peace, he is the Prince of Peace, but that does not mean you can just walk all over him, man. You know what I'm saying? And a lot of the Christians that I know have a background, right? So there's Christians who are ex-thugs, ex-drug dealers, ex-gangbangers, you know what I mean? And these people that I know who are Christians are not soft at all. Not even close. So worldwide, we're viewed to be, soft people. And that's not the case. As my man Toby said, try Jesus, not me, because I throw hands. And I couldn't agree more with that statement. So anyway, I love you all. Jesus love you all. Thank you all for watching this video. And man, I'll see you guys in the next video, man. Salute, bro.
Yeah. Look at my bros, look at my face. All of us know we living by grace. Look at my pose, look at my stance. I'm ready for the woe. This isn't by chance. Devil throws stones, devil got plans.